Viewers on Times Now, at the top of 8, we have been able to project, Times Now Veto has been able to project the results as we see them, not as the public is going to put out via the good offices of the Election Commission of India on the 10th. But Times Now Veto has done a survey and projected a comfortable victory for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. Let's have a quick look at the numbers right behind me as they come up on our screens. Here it is phase-wise. Phase 1, viewers, which was supposed to be the phase where the BJP is supposed to do the worst. It has actually got 31 out of 58 seats. The Samajwadi Party 23. So it's a conversion of about 53% in favor of the BJP here. Let's have a look at phase 2. Phase 2, viewers, very, very important. This was a phase where the Bharatiya Janata Party was also up against it. The Samajwadi Party 20 and the BJP 31. This is a particular area where, of course, you have huge Muslim voters. Large number of them. So the Samajwadi Party should have done better. The BSP therefore also picking up a little bit. Let's look at phase 3, viewers. Phase 3 is very, very important. Here it comes up. 59 seats in this phase. This was the Yadav belt, viewers. The Yadav belt, the Samajwadi Party 23. Remember, Karhal is where Akhilesh Yadav to mobilize this particular area, which has tanked for it in 2 elections. Getting only 23 seats here. The BJP at 32, remember it's 59. So again, 52 to 53% of the seats that the BJP is contested with its allies, it is getting. Phase 4, let's have a look at phase 4. Phase 4, viewers, an important phase because this is where the BJP was expecting to do much better, take the fight away from the Samajwadi Party, and it seems to have done that. 38 seats to 18. So a huge gap of 20 seats opening up. The BSP again only at 1, not being able to rise. Mayawati's big problem, not being able to rise. The Congress also not doing very well. Viewers, this is worrying because this is a phase where Amethi, Rai Bareli are the seats that went in, and obviously the Congress is not even performing in its own traditional family bastions. So that's bad news for the Congress. Let's look at phase 5. Phase 5, very important again for the BJP to course ahead and again maintains that sort of advantage over the Samajwadi Party, 18-seat advantage. So things are beginning to look better at this moment for the BJP. Let's look at phase 6. Phase 6, viewers, a significant phase because this is where the BJP would have been sitting at the edge of its seats. This is the phase that saw the election in Gorakhpur. Many people thought that if Yogi had contested from Ayodhya, for example, the BJP would have done much better, but he chose his own bastion. People said safe seat, Yogi is not confident. Well, he was supposed to rally the party from here. But as you can see, the Samajwadi Party has done well, 24. So the gap narrows in this particular phase. And the last phase, viewers, 54 seats in phase 7, which finished voting today. BJP at 26, Samajwadi Party at 23. Again, neck and neck here for them. But what is the grand total? Let's pull out the grand total. It's 225 for BJP, about 23 seats clear of the halfway. The Samajwadi Party now at 151, falling back, the BSP at 14, and of course the others at 4, the Congress only at 9. Overall vote share, let's look at the overall vote share. Let's look at where the BJP has picked up. Here it is, 39.39%. That's the BJP's vote share. The Samajwadi Party close here, 35%. So viewers, it's not much in the vote share, but at this moment in time, the Congress 7.7, the BSP is 13. This is the number that the Samajwadi Party would not want to see. Because if this number was low, then viewers, the Samajwadi Party would think that it would be running the BJP closer. Now, it all will come down to, of course, Mayawati in the last 2 phases. But overall, too, if the BSP performs below this mark, the Samajwadi Party goes up by that much. If the BSP does better than this, the Samajwadi Party is out, and the BJP might actually bag many more seats than the 225 that we are projecting. Now let's look at the poll of polls. Here it is, the poll of polls, Times Now projecting 225, Samajwadi Party 151, the BSP 14, the Congress 9, the others 4. The Jan Ki Baat 241, 150. So viewers, while it gives the BJP many more than the Times Now veto poll, the Samajwadi Party getting almost the same. This is the real difference, isn't it? This is the difference. Our poll seems to be suggesting the BSP is doing better than the 7 that Jan Ki Baat is giving. Congress 9, and here Jan Ki Baat giving the Congress only 2. The ETG research, again somewhere in the middle of the two polls, 238, 155, 541. Viewers, what it tells you is that the poll of polls right now giving 235, 152, 953. Now, viewers, this is very important to understand, because fundamentally it is a number that puts the BJP back, but certainly well short of 300. Now, many people are going to suggest that the BJP is losing form in the state that remains a bellwether for 2024. That's what the debate is going to come down to. Will the BJP be happy with that number? In the face of a black swan event, it should consider that this is a triumph. But of course, that is for the BJP to come out and speak about. Let's open this up. Amit Malviya, I want to bring you in, BJP's national spokesperson. Amit Malviya, what do you make of these numbers? If you look at all these polls, the trend is that the BJP is comfortable, but it is certainly not resurgent in the manner that you had predicted, 300 plus. So there is obviously a discrepancy, and the viewers and the voters are feeling it. Amit Malviya.
Well, Rahul, first of all, the numbers that have come out in various exit polls seem to directionally suggest that the BJP is going to win this election. Now, you can quibble about the size of our victory, but let me put this in context. Since independence, no chief minister has completed a full term and got re-elected for another one. In the last 37 years, no party has got re-elected for a second term. If you look at the BJP's likely win on the 10th in Uttar Pradesh in this context, with the numbers that even the exit pollsters are putting out, I think it is massive. Now, whether it is a significant climb down from the 312 that the BJP had in the last assembly election, how much do we actually end up winning on the 10th? All of those things are going to decide what the shape and the contours of the next government look like. But by any stretch of imagination, the BJP coming back to power in what is essentially a bipolar contest, and we saw one like that in 2019 when the SP and the BSP came together, and everybody thought it was a formidable alliance. Given the mathematics, the BJP still did exceedingly well. So 2014, 2017, 2019 and now 2022, I think clearly the BJP has got a core vote now in Uttar Pradesh, which is firmly backing the BJP, has shown their complete commitment to Prime Minister Modi, and now also Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, who was in many ways the face of the government and this campaign in the state of Uttar Pradesh. So I think the tidings look very good, and the numbers seem to suggest that the BJP on the 10th could actually do much better, because if you see the previous elections and the exit poll numbers, the BJP actually performed far better than what the pollsters have suggested. So sometimes the scale of the landslide is not probably captured because people are cautious about the numbers that they're looking at and they're circumspect and so on and so forth. But the mandate could be much bigger than what is being put out in these exit polls.
Okay, let me bring in Ashutosh. Ashutosh, how do you see this? Because the narrative that was being built up is that there were bodies flowing down the Ganges, the Ganga, saying that Yogi has been a callous chief minister, that he has embarked to prove his might on counter Raj in Uttar Pradesh. Thok Do Niti is, to put it crudely, is what the opposition was referring to, that the farmers, the rural poor are completely alienated because they have been very badly treated by Mr. Yogi's government. There has been no regard even for basic issues like law and order. But if the BJP comes back, Ashutosh, then it's quite clear that the opposition has no connect really with the voter.
Rahul, if these exit polls are correct, then there are the three things which is very, very important. First, the BJP has managed to maintain its social base. In 2017, they had 39 point something vote percent. That is still intact here. But what is the story out here is that there is a phenomenal rise of Samajwadi Party in UP politics, because 35.32% is the all-time best performance by Samajwadi Party. In 2012, when they formed the government, got 212 seats. Even then, they didn't touch 30% vote share. So it's a very good rise in that sense. Third is the decimation of the BSP, which is very surprising, because if BSP is getting 13.38, that means almost 10% vote share of the BSP has moved towards Samajwadi Party, and it has not moved to the BJP as was expected. Congress Party has not done anything spectacularly, but it has managed to maintain its vote share. The third thing, which is again very important, is that in UP, traditionally the others before 2014 has been something around 12% or 13% or 14%, but since BJP has come into the power in UP, this almost 8% others has gone to the BJP. That means the floating voters has gone to the BJP. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed about UP for the simple reason because the gap vote percentage between the BJP and Samajwadi Party is very thin, taking 3% plus minus. So it's too early to project that BJP has got 235 and BJP Samajwadi Party, I still think is underperforming here. It should perform better when the results are out on 10.
Okay, I'm just going to bring in Siddharthnath Singh and Dr. Ranganathan. I think Dr. Ranganathan, you raised your hand. Siddharthnath Singh ji, just bear with me for 30 seconds. Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in. Yes.
Yeah, no, very quickly, I'm surprised that today of all days, and of course, if the exit polls are to be believed, my good friend Ashutosh, instead of congratulating Yogi, is congratulating Akhilesh Yadav. I mean, here is Yogi, who is beating anti-incumbency. If you were to, as I say, the rider of obviously being that you're believing, and you know, if you look at the trend and poll of polls, I mean, every poll is saying that UP Yogi is coming with, you know, a good, comfortable majority. Ashutosh, you should be commending that the first time in 37 years you have a sitting chief minister who is going to be elected again. Let's not worry about Akhilesh Yadav. And as far as the BSP vote is concerned, I said earlier as well, this is the foresight of Narendra Modi. 13 years ago, he said that I am going to make a nano class. That whole BSP Mayawati vote has shifted en masse to BJP. Sorry to use this phrase, BJP used to be called a Brahmin Banya party. No longer. That's not the case, and that is why it is an election winning machine, because it is no longer this so-called pejorative, I'm sorry using it, Banya Brahmin party.
I'll agree with you if on the 10th the same results are out.
Okay.
I'm keeping my fingers
Let's go out to Siddharthnath Singh.
What the trend is that Samajwadi Party has improved by 12%.
Okay, one second.
Phenomenal.
Look, Ashutosh, one second. Let's bring in Siddharthnath Singh. Ashutosh says that, look, we are looking at this from a slightly saffron-tinted prism. What we should be focusing on is the mercurial rise of another alternative in the state, in the shape of Akhilesh Yadav. You haven't blown him away. You've only got about 226 seats if the poll of polls is concerned, and of course 225 if Times Now veto poll is concerned. So this is hardly a victory. It's a Pyrrhic sort of victory where you're being told by the voter that, okay, chalo, we'll give you another chance. That's the kind of sort of response that is coming from Ashutosh. How do you respond to that?
I can't really say on what Ashutosh is thinking, but certainly his viewpoint is well known that he will not be favoring BJP. But nevertheless, it's an exit poll. An exit poll is showing a trend. It's never the numbers. And I do recall the exit polls of 2017. They also predicted about 200, 210 for BJP. Many of the pollsters had said the same thing, but we crossed 300 plus mark. And I'm quite confident this time also, looking at the election, and since I also fought one of them, and I do see there is an undercurrent, and undercurrent, Rahul, is primarily on two things. One is on Modi ji's, the ration being given free to the poor class. And they used to say to us also and to me also, and I went to other places too, and they said, always said, namak khaya hai, uska namak ka hum haq ada karenge. Second is the bulldozer CM. The word was like, for everything, everybody said, bulldozer baba hai, bulldozer CM hai, hum logon ko kanun vyavastha achhi mili hai, and particularly this election, what I have seen when I compare with my own elections of 2017, this election, I have seen the women coming forward during the campaign and during the voting also. They have really participated.
Okay,
well,
so let me ask you,
particularly
Mr. Singh, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What for you is a result which you would take away and say that this is a resounding mandate in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party's double-engine governance model? Is there a threshold, or is it just a plain and simple majority? You're happy with 205, 6, 7, 8?
No. Well, one way to look at it is a government, you win a match, you win a match. By 1 run or 10 runs or 100 runs, that's a separate issue. But our leaders have already said, and I do hold, that this time also our election 310, that's the threshold we will be crossing and we will be reaching. So I'm quite confident, and but again, it's always the 10th actual results which we will be seeing. But exit polls are encouraging, they are showing a trend, and the trend is very encouraging. In fact, when I compare with 2017, where we were, there was no anti-incumbency against us, the numbers were around 200 only, 180 to 200. This time, the numbers are definitely in the exit poll are showing much higher. So I'm quite confident that we will be crossing 105. That's the numbers which we have been talking about.
Siddharth Singh, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go. Let's open this up as I take you across now. Once again, viewers, the poll of polls, we've added yet another one. The last one to come in is Jan Ki Baat, 241, 150, 624. And the number goes to about 230. So these are the 4 polls right now on Uttar Pradesh. Ishkaran Bhandari, yes, the point you want to make.
Rahul, this is very important. This will be the 4th election where BJP's vote share will be 40 or more. That's a tectonic shift. 2014, 17, 19 and 22. And when 4 elections you repeat it, it's not a happenstance, it's not a fluke, then that appears to have become your base vote. And in a bipolar election, that shows that BJP is getting a lot of BSP vote. In fact, if you remember West Bengal, even there TMC went from 42 to 48. When it becomes bipolar, you get the vote of those people who are not willing to vote Samajwadi. And that shows that BJP is able to draw votes from various segments, all segments, and that would hold it in very good stead in 2024 also.
Sanjay Jha, let me bring you in. Vandana Singh, leader of the Samajwadi Party, Shekhar Iyer. Sanjay Jha, simple question to you. Given these numbers, one can't say, and the fact that history is going to be made after about 35 odd years in Uttar Pradesh, one certainly can't say that the BJP is out of touch with voter mood, but that can certainly be said of the opposition. Rahul Gandhi, Akhilesh, n number of other political leaders from also the TMC, etc., who all came together really to stop Modi and Yogi in Uttar Pradesh, don't quite realize the work that is being done. This is a resounding mandate against their politics. How do you respond to that?
Well, Rahul, if these numbers hold, there is absolutely no ambiguity in stating that the BJP has been very successful in not just maintaining its core bank, but also attracting people. I will agree with Anand, from the Dalit votes that Mayawati used to get earlier. I always told you on your show that the determining factor in this election between Samajwadi Party and the BJP will be who gets the spoils of Mayawati's lackluster campaign. And clearly that's worked in BJP's favor. But the other point again, this election, if you look at Uttar Pradesh very carefully, is that the Congress has actually not been getting double-digit votes in Uttar Pradesh since 1996. A lot of people don't know that. So
We're not talking about the Congress. That's why I deliberately didn't speak about the Congress. I spoke about the opposition and its narrative. So that is fundamentally what we need to be looking at right now.
Well,
Is the opposition even in touch with the mood of the people? Are they reading it right? And if they can't even understand what the opposition wants, can they actually supply answers to it? That's the question I was asking.
Let me tell you, there are 5 states that have gone to the elections. I agree that Uttar Pradesh sends maximum to the Lok Sabha, but we cannot ignore the results in Goa, Uttarakhand.
No, so are you saying that we should, so even if the BJP, so the reverse could be true, if the BJP were to lose Uttar Pradesh, it doesn't matter, because you see,
you had the Gandhi family fronting the election campaign in Uttar Pradesh. Nowhere else was the Gandhi family fronting the election campaign. Here, specifically Priyanka Gandhi, first time ever she steps in, she fronts it, and look at the pathetic response.
So I want to ask you this, and let's open this up. Ishkaran Bhandari, what was said?
No,
Hindutva,
what Smita mentioned, let me give a quick
Rahul?
response. I don't think anybody in the Congress party had any false notions of winning 50 seats there. I've been very categorical there. The Congress party is trying to build a base for 2024 Lok Sabha. I have there is no justification. There's no justification.
Rahul, they will buy land on Mars also.
Over the
okay,
last
look, Sanjay Jha, look, let's not take this onto the Gandhis because they don't really have a stake in Uttar Pradesh. The different matter that the Congress is completely crumbling, even under Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, which goes right back to the Gandhi Parivar. Here there is no, at least you can't separate in Uttar Pradesh the Gandhi family from the outcome, the fortunes of the Congress. So forget that for a second. I want to bring in Ishkaran Bhandari. Let's take the bull by the horns. Ishkaran Bhandari, what was said? It was said that Mr. Modi is dividing this country, that his politics is bad for the country, that Hindutva is a substitute for the fact that they have done zero work. The fact that the Yogi and Modi model has come a cropper and it will be proven in Uttar Pradesh. The fact that all of them said we must come together to stop the BJP, which is taking this country over the precipice. If the BJP were to win in Uttar Pradesh, what does this say about the narrative that is being built?
Rahul, when the exit poll numbers hadn't come out, I had said that time also, if BJP wins UP, that shows it's in an extremely dominant position nationally for 2024. But more important than that, 2 states. One, where Congress, the principal national party, changed the chief minister. Punjab exit poll shows it's going to 3rd position. And second, UP, where the campaign was led in person with a slogan and rallies on the ground. If they get 5-10 seats and the opposition does not win, that shows that there is only one player who is the default party of governance. Then we are reaching the era of Congress governments where there is only one default governing party. The opposition can fight amongst itself who will win what state. But nationally, because this is a national mood which would have come out, because it's a midterm election, national mood would be very clear that the default party of governance is BJP if this result holds true.
Default party of governance. How do you respond to that?
Important.
That's very important. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. Because, you know, just remember, it's not what Ishkaran says is very important, because it's not just what the voters are doing. These are the signals that everybody gets. Most importantly, bureaucracy. You know, the spine of this country. They get that signal, and unless the bureaucracy gets a signal that X or Y is the default party of governance, they do not cooperate with the party in power. That's why the BJP in the first term in 2014 to the second term had great difficulty in putting its plans into action. It's only when they won the second term that the bureaucracy started cooperating with the Modi government. And now what Ishkaran says is that it is coming into that Congress mode where the signal goes out even to the bureaucracy that this is the default party of governance. That's when the bureaucracy falls in line with the party in power.
Vandana Singh, your message lost on the viewer, the message of the BJP that you're a Parivarvad party, that you believe in cronyism, that you have promoted law and order malfeasance, that you have presided over corruption, all sticking, if this result bears out?
Rahulji, there is still a gap between the lip and cup. So let's wait till 10. And if we're discussing Parivarvad, corruption and all, please ask the BJP, Mr. Malviya, how many people, how many leaders they have, father to son, mother to son, and so on and so forth. So let's not discuss that. This is not the day to discuss Parivarvad and corruption. And corruption, you should see their list. It's very well to camouflage everything and just blame the others. When you're pointing a finger at someone, there are 5 fingers pointing at you. So I'm not going down that road. The thing is, we will wait till 10. The major issue in UP was unemployment. Youth. UP is the youngest state. And youth is really, they don't know where to go. There are no jobs available. They don't know where they're going to get that. And, you know, there have been youths, they're saying, I'm over age, I'm 32. Where will I get the job? So let's wait till 10. I'm not going to comment any further on that. And what is politics without high-octane drama? So let's stick to that. Who's saying what?
The same. Would you have said the same had Samajwadi Party been in the lead? I don't think you would have said the same had Samajwadi Party been in the lead. But it's not for me to respond to you. Amit Malviya, respond to Samajwadi Party's Vandana Singh here.
First of all, I must clarify for Vandana Singh and several others who seem to not understand the idea of dynastic politics. Dynastic politics has been...
Rahul Singh's son naturally becomes the inheritor of his political legacy and becomes the chief of the Samajwadi Party, irrespective of any credentials or work on the ground. Therefore, it is important to understand कि राजा का बेटा अगर राजा बन जाए तो उसको डायनेस्टिक कहते हैं, लेकिन राजा का बेटा अगर सेना में नौकरी करे और दरबार में बैठे और फिर जाके कई सालों बाद राजा बने तो उसको डायनेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स नहीं कहते हैं. As far as the Samajwadi Party is concerned, I'm just looking at the most recent number that Axis poll has put out. The Samajwadi Party is going to end up below 100. Therefore, clearly the BJP is going to sweep this election and we are going to be in the vicinity of 300. The number that we have got in the last election, the number that we have put out for this election. So it seems like we are going to be on track. The numbers are going to bear us out on the 10th and they look really very good at the moment.
Why don't you look at your own party, Amit ji? Please look at your own party and all the dynasts who are sitting there. Who is Jyotiraditya Scindia?
You get prepared to spend another term in opposition. Why we will take care of our party? Don't worry, it's perfectly fine. We're doing well.
Who is Jyotiraditya Scindia? Can you answer me? Who is Jyotiraditya Scindia?
Jyotiraditya Scindia is a member of parliament and a minister in our government. He's not the party president. You should be asking me whether Mr. Nadda's son is going to become the president. Why don't you understand these basic things?
He's mother of Scindia's son. So let's talk about dynasty and politics. Please look at your own party. And you're talking about corruption? Your party, your present dispensation is full of corruption.
And who's the party chief?
Saying he was an imported leader.
Well,
he was an imported leader. I mean, you can say that he was Rajmata Scindia.
I can't hear you, Rahulji. There's a problem with the audio. I can't hear you very well.
There is no problem with the audio. Let me just step in here 1 second. Viewers, we're going to bring you yet another poll that has been added to this list of polls. The desk is just going to quickly put it out. But let me tell you, viewers, the general thrust is that the BJP is returning and will shatter a massive record. Now, I just want to very quickly bring in Ms. Prakash here, and this is an important question that I want to put to you, if only if I may say so myself. But I want to ask you, where does this leave the narrative of the opposition? That's the fundamental question I want to get at. No one wants to answer that question from the opposition ranks. They talk about the Congress, they talk about this, they talk about that, but where does that leave the narrative? Has, therefore, one concluded that the opposition is completely out of touch, or that the BJP under the NDA double engine, call it what you want to, is delivering?
I think also, when you talk about the narratives, the narrative of the farmers' agitation just did not click. Otherwise, they should have performed much better with their allies. The Samajwadi Party should have performed better with its allies. The second one is this caste identity politics that was played. I think there has been some kind of a problem. I mean, the Samajwadi Party managed to take out 2 OBC leaders and take them into their fold. In spite of that, they don't seem to have benefited all that much in those areas. Anand points out towards this upward mobility of the BSP voters. So, you know, I think that is what was misconstrued to be one vote bank which Mayawati is going to win, and that's nothing is going to affect. Whether she comes to campaign or not, it's not going to have any impact. Those people are going to continue to vote for the BSP. But I think the upward mobility has resulted in them thinking about their options more clearly, and they have moved towards whichever party. And as far what the results show, they have moved towards the BJP. They see more focus, they see more in not just symbolism, not just you know, that we work for your caste. No, they see more in direct benefit transfers. They see better in this whole sabka saath sabka vikas. The opposition might laugh about it, but the fact is, when those benefits come to them, when that flyover is built, when that chula is done, when that toilet is built, if that benefit comes to those people, they're going to rethink. So I think all the opposition parties will have to rethink this last minute getting
even
together.
Before 2014, man.
Listen,
toilets were built before 2014. People were living there in comfort. They were having food to eat.
In comfort, I think
comfort
we can bring out some statistics
there
here.
were bathrooms in Uttar Pradesh before 2014.
Yes,
let me tell you.
In every gully, in every village there was.
Viewers,
nobody did the publicity.
Let me tell you, one second, it's going to get a little worse for you, Vandana. Vandana Singh, it's going to get a little worse for you, because I'm reading out the Axis numbers, the Axis My India numbers. Let's have a look. 307 for the BJP. The Samajwadi Party only getting about 86 seats there. Now, viewers, that's a clean sweep. That is really a clean sweep. That is a bettering of the numbers of the BJP, even in the 2017 election, viewers. I don't know the exact vote share, but this is a decimation, and one may not be surprised, because as I showed you, the Times Now veto numbers, viewers, are predicated on a very narrow vote share differential. A 2% here or a 2% there in Uttar Pradesh can make the difference between 50 to 60 seats. 42 seats, in fact, were in the balance on just, viewers, a differential of between 2% and 5%. So minor vote swing in a face-off kind of election could lead to something quite dramatic like that outcome. Whether it's right or not, the fact is, viewers, if you look at these numbers, except for Polstrat, everything is trending towards a BJP victory, a runaway BJP victory under the circumstances. And that really opens up the conversation here. Ishkaran Bhandari, it opens it up. Shekhar Iyer, I want to bring you in. Ishkaran Bhandari.
Rahul, this shows that BJP is a first choice party for the maximum people and the second choice party for a lot of people. So when it becomes bipolar, BJP gets the first choice vote as well as the second choice vote of a lot of parties, because we are a multiple party country. So when it happens in 2019, two parties come together, BJP reaches 50%. When it becomes bipolar in the sense of regional parties or small parties join Akhilesh Yadav, BJP still gets 40%. So it is the first choice of a large majority and also the second choice of a significant majority, which in a multiple party system puts it into an almost invincible position, no matter what combination operates on ground against it.
PMARC, now viewers, PMARC also coming out with its projections. 240 for PMARC, 140 for the Samajwadi Party, 17 for the BSP, Congress 4 and the others 2, and the grand total of all poll of polls is 244, 139 for the Samajwadi Party, mostly because of these 4 polls, which are giving the Samajwadi Party in the vicinity of 150. But Axis My India putting the BJP at 307 and bringing down the average considerably for the Samajwadi Party by going to 86. Now, viewers, this is very, very important, because there are some significant takeaways, and I want to bring in Shekhar Iyer. Shekhar Iyer, you've seen and written about many, many elections. What is a standout takeaway for you from the numbers that we are projecting on Uttar Pradesh and the poll of poll numbers, of course?
Well, Rahul, this is one of those rare elections where people are giving a positive vote. That is the biggest thing. This is not a negative vote. It's rather a positive vote. You know, in 2004, when Vajpayee government went with similar a positive agenda and could not make it, there were many in the BJP who felt that they should not have gone about talking about India shining or about the achievements of what they had delivered then. And there was some kind of a regret note. But down the line, what you see today, you know, after 2014 and 2019 and now 22, in Uttar Pradesh, it's a positive vote. And it largely reflects what is called the customer satisfaction or the voter satisfaction. Yes, there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of livelihood issues. But the big question is, who can deliver on those issues? Can Akhilesh deliver or will Yogi deliver?
Yes.
I think the verdict is, it is a BJP who can deliver, and also with the Prime Minister Modi at the helm here, there is still a feeling that if anybody can do it, it is the BJP can do it. And as far as Akhilesh Yadav's success, yes, all those people who are dissatisfied with the very fact that they have been disempowered since the BJP came to power are naturally voting for Akhilesh Yadav. What he is basically getting a vote of not confidence in him to deliver. It's a vote of people who feel disempowered by several things that have happened in UP. And for them, it's a lot of negative things. But I think overall the mood is of positive things. And overall the mood is that this government can deliver, this party can deliver, and they are willing to give it several chances. Rahul.
Okay, let me go straight across to Sanjay Jha. Crisis of confidence in the opposition and its narrative makes the problem very, very big for the opposition ahead of 2024 if you are to concede that the Uttar Pradesh election is going to decide the outcomes of 2024. Sanjay Jha.
Well, Rahul, let me tell you, if the BJP wins, and it looks like they will, it's extraordinary. But I would like to make this point. Please do not see this as a mandate for governance. I don't think governance is issue at all. I think the simplest here is really of nationalism, Hindutva combination. This is Hindutva that appeals on a religious basis and nationalism that basically crosses and transcends all of.
No, then if it in any state it should work, it should be Uttarakhand, which has a massive Brahmin, Thakur, upper caste presence. It should work very well. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Well, the BJP seems to be holding on there as well, so it seems to have worked. You are right. Ideally, the Congress.
No, it's not actually. If you really look at the Uttarakhand poll of polls, it's a very close tight there. It could even be hung. So let's put this
right. It's a swing state, so the Congress should have ideally won it quite handsomely because there are many, mammoth disasters.
A swing state. So is Uttar Pradesh. Has never really elected the same government back.
Well, that's exactly my point. The BJP is holding on not because of governance. Please, let's get this right. The health indicators are terrible. Governance has been pathetic. It's an abuse of state machinery. Women are unsafe. Rampant unemployment.
But that is Sanjay Jha's view sitting in Bombay in an armchair. That is not the view, obviously, of the voter. Would you agree?
Why is BJP not decimated then?
Why isn't BJP at 86 or 150, 153, 155, 151, 140 and the Samajwadi Party not at 225, 235, 218, 241, 307, 240?
I think he is misreading Congress and BJP numbers.
Okay, yes.
Rahul?
Yes, okay.
Rahul,
okay.
I think with due respect to my good friend Sanjay, I think he needs to be evacuated from La La Land. I mean, what is he talking about? BJP is going to beat anti-incumbency. For 37 years, there's not been a single chief minister who's actually been elected again. And let me tell you, Sanjay, my good friend, look at the data. You talked of nothing has happened in health. Do you know the infant mortality rate has actually dipped 10 points in the last 5 years? You talked about GDP. Do you know the GDP of per capita of UP in 2017 was 47,000, today it is 61,000. You talked about child education. Do you know that 10% more women have started going to school since 2017? You look at the parameters of law and order. Dacoity reduced by half, rape by 35%, 10,000 people are behind bars. You have 10,000 crores that the UP has extracted from the dons. What more do you want, Sanjay?
Yeah, you're cherry picking data, Anand. I can produce to you 20 stats that are very depressing and dismal. That's not the point. My larger thing is Rahul asked about narrative. And narrative is actually kind of dead by the kind of rhetoric that is used. And Hindutva and nationalism works like magic, we know that. So the BJP's formidable combination is still at work electorally.
But Sanjay, when you talk of Hindutva, the biggest quote-unquote Hindutva plank that the BJP brought to these elections was this so-called slogan, "Jo Ram ko laya hai, hum usko layenge." Ram ko kaun laya? Supreme Court laya. So there has been no riot-induced Hindutva or polarization. If at all BJP is garnering vote, it is on the name of Ram, that the Ram temple is to be built.
Well, I think let's agree to disagree on that. Anand, you know it,
Fair
that
enough.
80-20, Uttar Pradesh will become like West Bengal, Kashmir and Kerala. What were the allusions made towards? We all know that. So end of day, I think it's an electoral masterpiece.
Sanjay,
So
even Ashutosh disagrees with you.
I think let's be fair to Sanjay. I think Sanjay, if first of all let's accept that this is only the exit poll results, not the final results. So the final introspection, everything will be done on the 10th.
Of course.
But if these exit poll results are getting into the reality, then we live in a democracy and we have to accept the verdict of the people. Yeah. Whether we like it, whether we don't like it. I'm a critic of Modi government and the BJP. But if exit polls are saying, and all the exit polls are saying that BJP is forming the government, I think gracefully we have to accept that. We can't say that the misgovernance happened, that this happened, that maybe we have been reading something wrong.
So can you deny the fact that unemployment is a serious problem?
No.
Can you
Sanjay,
deny
you're not getting my point.
Sanjay,
you're not getting the point. I'm saying the unemployment is very bad in UP. The price rise is very bad in UP, and everything is there. But the fact is, the people like them. If the people want to vote for them, if the people want them in the government, then what you can do and what I can do.
It's fascinating.
What democracy is all about.
Ashutosh ji, it's fascinating that you and Sanjay Jha are actually having an argument tonight on two contending points.
Rahul, that's what is about.
It just tells you
that the constitution, democracy allows.
Rahul, 10 seconds.
Yes.
10 seconds. Just 10 seconds because Sanjay. Sanjay talked of data and he talked about unemployment. Let me give the unemployment rate in percentage from International Labour Organization, which Sanjay you would believe, right? 2014 5.6, 2015 5.56, 2016 5.51, 17 5.41, 18 5.33, 19 5.27. Where is this bogey that you were saying that for 45 years we have the highest unemployment rate, Sanjay?
CMI data.
Anand, that's why people of the
CMI data is a NATO data.
Okay.
Government has also accepted that.
CMI survey.
Okay.
That is survey.
Yes.
No. Government of India has also accepted those data.
Okay, Smita Prakash wants to come.
One second. I just want to bring in this one point of this Hindutva bogey. This constant thing that it's Hindutva works its magic. Who prevented the opposition from not bringing up and saying that this is not magic, this is Jadoo Tona, this is black magic? They could have brought that up. So what did they do? You had Rahul Gandhi talking about parsing that difference between Hindu and Hindutva. Why are you not bringing up? You're talking like a think tank out there, talking about Hindu alag hai, Hindutva alag hai. You think that resonated? No, it didn't. So if Hindutva is a problem, then why are you not saying it clearly that Hindutva ke upar vote mat dena? Nobody is doing that. In fact, the opposition has just put that aside and doing the temple run all over again, recreating or saying, oh, that worked magic for the BJP, so let's do the same thing. They did exactly the same thing on Hindutva like the BJP did, the Congress I'm talking about, not Akhilesh. But these guys did the same thing. And so today you come on television channels and you say that Hindutva is wrong and Hindutva has won it for the BJP, and that is wrong. I'm sorry, you're making a mockery of the Indian democracy, democratic system and of the voters.
I'm sorry.
Okay, because you can't.
Can I ask you one question? When the students in Uttar Pradesh went around on unemployment and railways, burning and attacking trains, what was that a manifestation of?
That is not Hindutva. When they go on railway tracks, when they talk about unemployment, that's not Hindutva. You're talking about apples and oranges, Mr. Jha.
I could say the same about you. I'm saying you can't say governance is the reason why probably the BJP is winning votes. That's my larger.
I didn't say that.
Ishkan Mandari.
That's what I'm
The
suggesting.
narrative of Hindu versus Hindutva. Firstly, nobody in India understands what the narrative is. I can't figure it out, and I've talked to many people. Nobody can figure out what he means when he says Hindu is this and Hindutva is this. Secondly, when you do a temple run, then how are you even projecting that viewpoint? You could be militantly an atheist and say, I don't want religion to be discussed from a public platform, which happens in no country in the world because every president of US is a Christian president. They very clearly say
that's a good point.
But you are trying to say, but if you are doing it, do an honest job of it. Say I'm anti-religion.
Sanjay Jha.
Right on a
Even Kejriwal dropped that plank.
Yeah, let me tell you.
But they don't even have the plank.
Who is the person in Uttar Pradesh who pushed the entire Mathura temple issue? Dr. Ranganathan, I remember you talking about the fact that the Gyanvapi mosque is in your eyes an eyesore, etc., etc. Who is the one who has appropriated that particular plank? It was the Samajwadi Party.
Yes.
Akhilesh Yadav. Was that not Hindutva? Simple question.
No, look, I think the Ishkaran has, hit the nail on the coffin. BJP is not confused about Hinduism or using Hindutva. The rest of the political parties are incredibly confused. Right from Mamta, she has reduced her confusion level, to Kejriwal, who has obliterated the confusion level because he's become Chota Modi now. He is taking pilgrims to Ayodhya. So people have realized that if you want to win elections, A, of course you need development, but B, you also need
appeasement. You have to end appeasement. Yeah. Appeasement will not work. Let me take a very short break here, viewers. We're right back because the central question, we're also going to look at region by region breakup of Uttar Pradesh, but the central question remains, if BJP, as it is being projected, sweeps Uttar Pradesh, is the party over really for the opposition going into 2024? That's fundamental, and that's the question I want to engage with when we come right back. Don't go away. SP 151, BSP 14, Congress 9, others 4. Viewers, ETG research, 235 for the BJP, Samajwadi Party 155, BSP 6, Congress 4, others 3. And it goes on. Polstrat 218 for the BJP, Jan Ki Baat 241 for the BJP, Axis My India, the outlier 307 for the BJP, a massive sweep. And of course, PMAR 240. So, viewers, in not any particular order, but if you really were to total all of this up, it comes to 244 for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Remember, they require about 201 to form the government. 139 for the Samajwadi Party. If you look at the lowest, it's 86 that they can go down to. And of course, one of the highest numbers is 155, which is the ETG research number. The BSP 11. The vote share is interesting because the vote share shows an implosion of the BSP. That is the reason why the Samajwadi Party is still doing better than what perhaps the BJP would have expected it to do. And the Congress, of course, pretty much over. The party is over by the shouting. What does this mean now, viewers? For 2024, many people have said that Uttar Pradesh and this particular election is the semi-final. Why? Because there could be no better test of mood of the electorate. Why? Because on the back of this, viewers, we have had a pandemic which has raged on for 2 years. Remember, it's the BJP in power in at least 3 of the states that are going to elections. In Punjab, it is a contender, but a distant contender. So if there was any anti-incumbency against the BJP and the NDA, by extension, it would have really, viewers, manifested itself in these numbers, but it doesn't seem to have done so, and is therefore, and let me open this up straight off. Let me bring in Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Smita Prakash. Smita Prakash, 2024 in the pocket, in the BJP's pocket, or could there be still some doubts?
Yeah, many a slip between the cup and lip. But then many have also pointed out that this is like a semi-final. But more than anything else, I think what is fascinating is that Yogi Adityanath exuded this kind of confidence right from the word go. Even during the farmers' agitation, even during the COVID crisis, he was pretty certain that he's going to be winning the next election. And when every poll pundit said that it's almost over for Yogi, when the media reports started coming in during the COVID crisis, and then subsequently during the farmers' agitation, that the Jat vote is going to go completely against him. Then there were the alliances, there were the defections. All through, he did 200 plus rallies. He's visited almost every constituency in the state. He's worked really hard. He's left no stone unturned. So while everybody can turn around and say that, you know, the entire BJP machinery, the RSS combined, they worked on the ground, and, you know, from the Panna Pramukh level, from the ground level, the BJP was working all hands on deck, everything fine. But if Yogi had not delivered, if he had been even slightly wavering as far as delivering is concerned, that this election would not have gone, as per the exit polls, as smooth sailing for the BJP as it has.
Well, remember, viewers, it's the Hindi heartland that the BJP has set its heart on, and it is this Hindi heartland, viewers, that propels the BJP into power overwhelmingly. We've seen this now in 2 elections. So if the BJP remains robust here, it's going to become very, very difficult to pack Modi off as the opposition would want. Dr. Ranganathan, very quick takeaways.
Of course, Smita is right, but I have to say this also. Let's not forget that UP has a population size that of Brazil. I mean, 200 odd million people. So it's not it's like a legitimately large sized country on its own. And Sanjay, of course, my good friend has a point. I mean, there is truth to what he says. There are so many insurmountable problems. But the fact of the matter is, do you have a leader who is willing to tackle them one by one? And the answer is yes. Of course, he's not perfect. But Rahul, for example, just 10 seconds, you took the example of body floating down the Ganges. Of course, second wave was devastating. Nobody came out of it. Like a Cadillac from a car wash. But the fact of the matter is, did you know in the last 1 month, where there have been very few deaths compared to Delta variant last year, there have been 300 bodies that have been buried in the same banks of Ganges. Now, this was not known, and New York Times and Washington Post are not writing articles on this. I'm talking of last 1 month. So the fact of the matter is, people also realize that, yes, things were not perfect, but administration was doing things. It was not just sitting idle. And of course, there have been, people have been devastated. The economy has been ruined. There is unemployment. Sanjay is right. But somebody is tackling it.
Well, let me tell you, if these numbers hold in Uttar Pradesh, the booster dose, the third one, is what the BJP has got, viewers. And that could mean immunity from being ejected from power. Now, the challenges will increase, let me tell you. Challenges will increase because the world is connected and we're seeing turbulence. And at the end of the pandemic, remember, viewers, state intervention is going to decrease remarkably. So people will have to learn to get by on their own. And that's going to be the test. So this is not over. 2024 is not sealed, but certainly the BJP will get a boost. I'm taking a short break. I'm right back, viewers. We'll get to the numbers from all the 4 states, the poll of polls. Don't go away.